Hello everyone, and welcome to the Puppet the Critic Show. My name is Puppet, I'm the Critic, and this is my show. Behind me is the wall of pop culture. And here's a quick bio about me. Being a filmmaker for the past 13 years, I want to start viewing film criticism from the filmmaker's point of view, focusing on various forms of film theory as its main theme. While IMDb and other forums are great to discuss film, expressing my opinions to a larger audience via video would allow me to connect with people that are not only watching the same contemporary films as me, but also be able to dive into the past to review classics for both technical and encouraging reasons, allowing a filmmaker and audience member alike to possibly witness something new. So, let's start the show. My first review will be a classic one of my favorite films of all time, Ed Wood. Shot in 1994 and directed by Tim Burton, here's the best way to look at that movie. Ed Wood is a buddy comedy about below-mediocre filmmaker Ed Wood and his newfound friend and idol, Bela Lugosi. Together, Ed and Bela venture out with their cast and crew of freaks and misfits into the wonderful, horrible world of Hollywood to make perfect pictures, movies that will stand the test of time right beside Orson Welles' films, only these will be cloaked in Angora. But alas, a new villain is in Tinseltown, an antagonist so awful, so horrifying, so dreadful, that any person who witnesses this monster will forever be transformed by its grotesque babbling and incomprehensible construction. I'm speaking, of course, of Ed Wood's movies! Yes, his very love is his very curse, the films being so bad they're not good yet because it's not the 80s but the 50s, when irony was the last thing on the mainstream's mind. Anyone who does anything in the name of love and passion should see this film at least once. It portrays what it's like to love, not just film, but anything. Obsessively, yes, but, and this next part is important, how the film portrayed someone who has become so delusional, they didn't realize that they became a parody of what they aspired to be. And for Ed Wood, his aspiration was Orson Welles. The problem with Ed Wood in the film was that he was too busy trying to create the idea of perfection that he had in his head of himself, while not putting the proper work in. Ed would shoot one take for each scene, and no matter what happened, he would say that it was perfect.
No, you're not that upset. You want to keep moving. You've got to get through that door. And cut. Perfect. Print it. Let's move on.
Don't you want to do another take, Ed? Looks like Big Baldy had a little trouble getting through the door.
No, it's fine. It's real. You know, in actuality, Lobo would have to struggle with that problem every day.
While probably factually accurate, the fact that the other 99% of the shot was riddled with confusion showcases Wood's lack for both a competent director and intellect. I'll allow you to compare Wood to our current era of do what you love on your own terms, because you most likely know at least one person who lets the concept of fame usurp their love for the craft. If you do the research, Wood was not as stupid as the film portrayed him to be, knowing exactly how silly Plan 9 was, and loving every minute of it. Why laugh at your own film? Because Ed had the experience to actually do something he loved, and then laugh at with his buddies. Because once you continuously fail at something, yet honestly know why you're doing it, all you can do is laugh, and that's a beautiful thing. I also think Wood did something fascinating with Glen or Glenda. You should really experience that film.
People. All going somewhere. Glenn is a transvestite, but he is not a homosexual. Transvestism is the term given by medical science to those persons who desperately wish to wear the clothing of the opposite sex, yet whose sex life in all instances remains quite normal. Would you be surprised a tough individual was wearing pink satin undies under his rough exterior clothing? He is. Then there is your friend the milkman who knows how to find comfort at home.
I can't stand it any longer. He wears all my clothes. Nothing is sacred to him, even my briefs.
Pull the string! Pull the string!
The title of this
What the
can
hell
only be
is this?
labeled
Is this an actual
Behind
movie?
Locked
Can't
Doors.
be.
It was daring for its time, where a man was sending out a plea of acceptance for transvestism to a society that was donning black suits and well-kept kitchens. Or what about the bold, wild move of making a group of women rape a man in the wild years? That doesn't make the movie any better, but I can't think of a movie that would even touch that material today. And no, Ed Wood wasn't the worst director of all time, which we can thank the Medved brothers and the release of their book The Golden Turkey Awards, which announced Ed and his movie Plan 9 from Outer Space the worst film/director of all time. I understand the B-movie was considered a lower form, But then again, Ed didn't consider all of his films to be low. Ed was trying to do what many successful filmmakers are doing today, which is oscillate between the high and lowbrow genres, or mixed genres, like his unproduced film The Ghoul Goes West, which would have blended the horror and western genre. Or take his subversive characters in Play 9 from Outer Space, making the police, military, and basically every other classic good guy seem inept, while the aliens were the real heroes, which, if you study horror films, is a perfect term to label the monsters. Heroic. Sound familiar, Quentin Rodriguez slasher film fans? I've often found myself saying, hate is new love. They then be greeted by odd looks. Yet one doesn't need to look far for evidence from the modern day freak show, aka reality television, where certain programs rely on no talent, but the deformities of their stars, while making us viewers feel safe and sound. But more importantly, what does this say about the cult of bad taste in filmmaking today? Ed Wood didn't live long enough to see his films turn into the cult phenomenon we now know them as. Would he approve? I think he lived in a constant state of ambivalence. And what would Ed think about the cannibalistic nature of taking the idea of something so bad it's good and churning it out for a profit? Take a company like The Asylum, which poaches on the Hollywood blockbusters, creating titles like Transmorphers for Transformers, and the monster of capitalism gnashes its teeth on something other than the hunger for wealth, but the possible ignorance and vitriol of its audience. After watching the Asylum producers interviewed about their work, and then watching both Transmorphers and Sharknado, I can't figure out if we're being trolled into believing that these guys actually believe that what they're doing is great, or they're honest in their ignorance. Yet, my modern concept of hate equaling love isn't all black and white either. Mystery Science Theater 3K is one of my favorite shows of all time, and they're even bringing it back with an all-star cast and crew because of a high demand for more of that good old hating. Films like The Room are what certain cinephiles crave because, again, all of the Ed Wood personality traits align to make the perfect nightmare. A film that's so odd, it really doesn't seem like it was made from this world.
Oh, hi, Danny.
And what about the collection of online film reviewers critiquing films with less of a trained eye, but a nerd-rage, semi-experienced hard-on, or an angry-fisted humorist attack? Viewers find these critics both funny and informative to whether or not they'll see a movie, because the charismatic pop-cultured witticisms coming from these reviewers are addicting to experience.
With each passing scene, it becomes incredibly obvious why Akira Toriyama, the original creator, was so horrified by this movie that he wanted to resurrect the films and the show. True story. The guy was fucking horrified by this movie, just like all of us. So Chi-Chi invites Goku to her party, and right here we are literally 14 minutes into this movie. And I can't fucking take it anymore. 14 minutes, and I cannot take it. I've got to fucking do something. Something more fun than watching this movie. I gotta do something. Sorry, guys.
Viewers then go see the movies, and then either geek out or throw funny-fueled jabs with one another at what they considered was poor cinema. I do it, you do it, Armin White, who yes, I appreciate, does it! While we can thank Roger Ebert for letting us know it's okay to voice our opinion into the digital void, we should also thank Ed Wood as a postmodern pioneer of hate equaling love. The more I wrote this review, the more I think Ed would have come to love what he helped garner into the world. He might have not become the artist he planned for himself, but he did become an auteur of a type of cinema, which is beloved by millions. Call it bad tasty movies, whatever. People love it because they can detect a sincerity from Ed Wood and other filmmakers that resonates beyond film, and with the desire to make something good. And in the end, I think that's not only what matters, but what makes Ed Wood not a hack, but a visionary of pure oddity. As Ed Wood would say, it's perfect. And that's it! The first review is done. Thanks for joining me today, and write anything in the comments section if you'd like to see me review something in the future. Until then, pop it out!